What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon, and I'm making a quick one for you today. Just got a couple things, interesting tidbits of information coming out of Chris Grier's press conference from today about, some players and stuff, current Dolphins players, and then maybe, other potential targets. So the first one that I want to mention is Xavier Howard. We got some updates there, although nothing has actually been agreed to as of yet as far as, contract terms, but Chris Grier said they are in constant communication or, regular communication at least. They are in continued talks, and hopefully we'll have that done sooner rather than later. So that's ideally what we want, right? I like that they are still talking as opposed to last year when they weren't talking at all. And ultimately we want it done sooner rather than later, of course, but we want it to get done, period. So hopefully they get that figured out, and hopefully they get it figured out soon. Let's see, what else did we have here? Another thing was about Tyrann Mathieu. He did say that they are not pursuing him, which, again, I mentioned this in either my last video or maybe the one before that. I think it was my last video, where I said that my feelings on that would be similar to the Tyreek Hill thing, in that I would love to have Tyrann Mathieu on the roster, but I just don't think it's necessary, and I wouldn't do it. The couple differences here are wide receiver actually was a position of need. I don't really think safety is as much of a position of need. It's further down the list, so that is one slight difference, which is part of the reason why it makes getting Tyrann Mathieu less of a priority, right? And why it would be, for me, a little bit less desirable than the Tyreek Hill thing, because at least from the position of need perspective, Tyreek Hill was a position of need, and we did need to address it. Although I wouldn't have done all of that draft capital and stuff, but that is also one of the other differences as well, is that when it comes to Tyrann Mathieu, he's just a free agent, so you wouldn't have to trade any draft capital. So that's actually, comparatively, that's actually a pro for Tyrann Mathieu, and a con for the Tyreek Hill trade, because I didn't like trading all that draft capital. Now, they are taking the fuck them picks approach, right? Like the Rams or whatnot. And they're going with a lot of, trading that shit away. And, honestly, too, to the opposite of the tanking approach, where they were trying to accumulate a bunch of draft capital. Now, look, I get it. You still got to make the right picks. And I get that Chris Grier has had his issues over the years. But again, to me, that was more Brian Flores and Stephen Ross, because Stephen Ross was the one that said, you guys got a motherfucking tank. I think that was more of an issue of the guys that Chris Grier had giving him direction. Because again, for me, now I'm not big on Chris Grier because I don't think he's a well-rounded GM and has all of the tools necessary to be a great GM. However, I do think he has some of the tools necessary, but he is highly dependent on having the guy in charge give him the proper blueprint. He's pretty damn good at executing the blueprint and doing what it is they tell him to do, but he's never going to be the, put my foot down, take charge kind of guy, which is the area that he's lacking in as a GM. So the problem over the past 3 years was mostly Stephen Ross's tanking direction that he gave Grier, and then Brian Flores' input and how to build the team. He was not a good person to listen to or model the team after, as we all know now, but I was obviously saying for 3 years, right? So, Chris Grier now under, Mike McDaniel's direction, and without the, Stephen Ross part of it of, hey, you're tanking, we are obviously now doing a different trial and error, or different approach or whatever, and that approach now is to give away all our draft picks, right? Which is going to make the draft really boring, but it is. Anyway, I've digressed a little bit off that. I got a little off topic here, kind of. But the point is, or little tangenty, I guess, because the point is that another difference to that is that Tyreek Hill actually had required a bunch of draft capital as well, not just a lofty contract, right? Because Tyrann Mathieu, you'd have to give him a pretty sizable contract and would eat up a decent amount of cap space. But to me, with the Tyreek Hill trade, it was even worse because you also had to give up a ton of draft capital. So I wouldn't do either of those moves. Like, I wouldn't sign Tyrann Mathieu in free agency because I don't want to take that big cap hit, especially when we have other areas of need, and it's not really an area of need, right? We have 2 young safeties. We do have some veteran leadership with Eric Rowe still there. So, you know, I don't think it's a need. Now with Tyreek Hill, it was a need, so that counterbalances, but at the same time, they also had to give, it wasn't just a big contract, which the contract was huge, and he is now the highest paid wide receiver in the league with $30 million annual salary, right? Is pretty outrageous. But they also had to trade a bunch of draft capital, and that's why I wouldn't have done the Tyreek Hill thing, and I would have done differently. And I would have gone in the draft at that point because I thought they did nice in bringing in Quincy Wilson, Trent Sherfield, cool. And then I would have taken a young. Now, I get it. You got to still hit, but that was the point of some of that tangenty stuff, is that Chris Grier, I think, could hit under the direction, not being forced to tank, first and foremost. That was a big issue of it. And then secondly, with Mike McDaniel being the guy, I think that he has given him a much more sound and clear-cut plan as to what they want to do. That's why I personally wouldn't have made the trade for Tyreek Hill, but I at least do understand and see how he fits into the vision. Whereas last year, or excuse me, over the past 3 years with Brian Flores, you know, leading the way or whatever, people are like, oh, you just got to trust the process and the plan. I didn't see a fucking plan. The only plan I saw was Brian Flores trying to do what Brian Flores wanted for Brian Flores. Brian Flores was of Brian Flores, by Brian Flores, for Brian Flores. Whereas Mike McDaniel, I actually do feel as if he has a plan for the team. For the team. The team. Team. I know it's a strange concept to some, but it's a team sport. Right? So, now again, I still personally wouldn't have made such a large investment in a singular player, but I do, again, at least see how the vision is, and, you know, they have started recouping some cap space. We'll see, because I know I kind of spent a lot of time on that, you know, a few minutes on that one portion, but another part of this video is they are actually still in talks with, you know, other teams about Devontae Parker. Now, I would like to see them trade Devontae Parker because your wide receiver room is still just fine without Devontae Parker. Even though I like Parker, and again, he is my only active player jersey as of now, and I did want him in the 2015 draft, trade him, recoup, first of all, you'll clear up a good chunk of cap space, and then you can recoup some draft capital, right? Abso-fucking-lutely. So because then if you clear up more caps, because those are the issues that I have with the Tyreek Hill trade. The lack of draft capital now that we have and all that we gave away, and now the lack of cap space when we have other important moves to make. You feel me? So trade Devontae Parker, clear some more cap space, a nice chunk of it, and you know, whatever it is you get more. That's more draft picks than you have now, right? And so, but there is actually also another name on the list, Michael Dieter. Apparently, there are interested parties, other teams that would like to maybe trade for Michael Dieter, which I find really interesting because when it comes to Michael Dieter, for me, I mean, you guys should know, I thought he played like absolute fucking donkey shit in his first year, right? But I do think he is one of the few guys that are salvageable. I think he's more salvageable in a lot of ways than Austin Jackson. However, you know, he's not to this point, he hasn't proven shit. He hasn't proven to be very good. Now, I would be also curious to see what, this new coaching staff could do with him, and if they are able to develop him. Now, to be fair, Chris Grier said they do wish to keep him and develop him, and with Parker, he says he's keeping his ears, open and is willing to hear things, but expects he'll probably be part of the team. But with Dieter, he is young. He is a draft pick. He does still have some salvageable upside. So those are some of the cons of maybe getting rid of him. But if you trade him, then you can get some draft capital. Who knows? Maybe somebody will give you a 3rd-round pick for him, right? I don't know. Probably not. But you can get some draft capital that you don't have now. Clear up a little bit more cap space, and then maybe that'll also allow you to bring in J.C. Tretter, and then it can be Armstead, Williams, Tretter, Robert Hunt, and then figure it out for right tackle, bro, and then you're pretty fucking good at that point. Like, I'd be damn good with that, right? So it is actually a really interesting little bit of, information that we did get from that press conference today. So we'll see how it plays out. Obviously, free agency isn't done. By the way, I am, I started, what is it, like a week ago now or whatever, like right at the end of all of those free agency videos I did, I started trying to get into, my information gathering mode for the draft, but I was having a lot of issue actually pulling the information that I'm looking for these young prospects. And obviously our needs changed pretty drastically with the moves we've made so far in free agency, but free agency is not done, right? So, but anyway, I am still working on that, and hopefully I'm going to be able to keep it in the same format that I did the free agency stuff, the free agency videos, and I'm hoping that my issues with gathering the information was mostly just I need to let a little bit of time slide by, because for example, some of the issue I was having was getting like the combine information for these prospects. So hopefully now the primary site that I use that has like all of the historical data for combine and pro day, hopefully they have that information up now, because they didn't before. I know pro days have continued to go on. Like, I think some just happened yesterday and like today and stuff like that. So that probably has something to do with it as well. Maybe I just needed some time, let some time go by so pro days could happen. Anyway, point is, hopefully I will still be able to keep all that in the same format. If not, then I may have to switch it up. But I am looking to, very soon start dropping my potential targets for the Dolphins in the draft, especially with the way that things have changed in free agency. But things are not done in free agency, and so I would expect them to still make some more moves. They've said that they're still being active, and while, Tyrann Mathieu might not be a thing anymore, I would like to see them trade Devontae Parker, clear some cap space, get some draft capital. I actually would even see, because Dieter hasn't been a success for us, even though that sucks and makes that draft class even that much worse, and that 2019 or the 2019 draft class is already hurting as it is, right, et cetera, et cetera. But as of right now, it might be the better direction to go in, especially if it allows you to bring in J.C. Tretter, not just because the cap space that you free up and are allowed to then, have the flexibility to sign him, but also because of the fact that, Dieter and all these other moves that they're using to clear cap space, because it wouldn't be Dieter alone that would allow you to have that. But anyway, point is, but then, because he's expected to compete for the center position, so not that he would beat J.C. Tretter out necessarily, but it then, kind of paves the way, because then it takes somebody, one of the top candidates you would figure for that position, takes him out of the picture. So I actually would like to see those two moves happen, because I think that would be smart. It'd be efficient. It would, help offset some of the negative parts about the Tyreek Hill trade for me, and I think it would help also in the direction that we're trying to go, and then get another one of those, veteran players to put on that offensive line, and then I think you're looking pretty good at that position unit overall. So Tyrann Mathieu might not be a thing, but they might be doing some trades, offloading some guys, and some more moves might still be happening. So keep our eyes open for that. Let me get up out of here before I, extend this any further, because like I said, I wanted to keep it kind of short video, but did have some thoughts on these developments, these, minor developments that came out today. So like I said, we'll see how it all plays out. It is going to be very interesting, and I'm looking forward to see, what moves do get made, and I would expect them to make some cap clearing moves, and those two trades actually I think would be some pretty good ways of doing it. Especially with then subsequent moves that could and should be made after. Anyway, so with that, let me get out of here. Before I do, check out the Rave On Sports App, the new fan-driven sports app for all of your sports, whether it be basketball, baseball, football, college, whatever you like, they got it, and they are looking to enhance your game day experience with live play-by-play coverage, live chats with other fans and content creators like myself, while also providing you with an arena to dispute the terrible officiating. So make sure you look for the links to that in the description box. And with that, I'm going to get out of here. I hope you guys appreciate my perspective. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Share my channel and videos with your friends and family. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comment section. And of course, as always, follow me on Twitter at DillonTartaro, as well as on Instagram at Dolphins_with_Dillon. And with that, I am out. I'll see y'all soon. Phins up.
7 seconds left. Tannehill will throw it. And this will end it after the shutout. Or will it? Miami runs around. Circling. Look out. Gronkowski. Did not mean it. Touchdown. Miraculous in Miami. Stills. Taken place here in South Florida. The Dolphins have done it. They keep their season alive. 69 yards. Wow. Pure joy. Miami wins it.